My earliest memory would be of I had a blue dress, blue coat, blue scarf, little hat, and Mum took me to Dublin. It must have been around Christmas time, and we went in around Moore Street, and I found that fascinating. Everybody was shouting and roaring and everything, and yeah, I found that fascinating. We did a lot of things, Mum and myself. I was kind of tied to our apron strings. Wonderful, hard-working, non-judgmental, just great lady. My mum took the picture in Shankill, and I don't think it was the day that my father threw me in the sea, but it was near enough to that time. I just about remember him lifting me up in his arms and walking out with me to quite a bit out in the water and just putting me into the water and walking away. And what did I do? I screamed. I'm sure they could hear me in Dunleary. I screamed so high, it was terrible. And I've never been able to get that together at all. And every single one of my family can swim, me, no. That day, yeah, we went up from there. I can just about remember going picking primroses in the wood that was near there. And oh, I loved that. I loved the primroses, loved walking, absolutely beautiful. And just walking through where there's primroses, and it is lovely to think back to that time. They were happy times. That was in the summer times. They had this rodeo show on the prom in Bray. It was in a tent. I loved it. My brother loved it as well. It was one of those things, our treat, you know. The summertime was wonderful. And you just went and sat down there, and we'd have an ice cream and watch this show. I can't remember much about it. I think there was a few magicians. We had a ball. We really did. Even though the whole world was in bits and we'd no money, it was fantastic. Sometimes I'd go down to a Sergeant Ryan in Shankill, who was my godfather, and we'd play poker for matches. Now, I was very, very young, but I can remember winning most of those games. I think they let me. The cinema, terrific. The matinees. We went to any one my mum wanted to see. I was with her. We went to Carousel, Oklahoma, My Fair Lady, you know, all the old ones, you know, and Darby O'Gill and the Little People, and it will always ring a bell for me, that. Always. Our music was always a thing, always. I'm still crowing out of me. I've been known to be heard over the other side of the lake. Like Mum loved Mario Lanza and Doris Day, you name it, she loved it. I was more of a Billy Fury, Roy Orbison, you know, loved music completely. There's one song my mum used to sing, and you know, we had a bellows for the fire, obviously, and when she'd be blowing the fire, she'd sing that. Blow, blow the fire, make a pretty light. Up comes a little girl all dressed in white. White shoes and stockings, white curly hair, and a little muffler around her neck and a Sunday hat to wear. There was a part of it I'd forgotten, and Mum and me, and we used to go down to the bandstand on the East Pier and listen to the band, and it was magic. It was magic. You know, you don't realise that you really had a good childhood. I really did, you know. Yeah, Strawberry Hill was a lovely guest house up on the Vico Road, and my mum worked there for a couple of summers. She always took me with her, and I sometimes got the job of cutting ice cream, you know, threepenny one or sixpenny one, and I usually give everybody a sixpenny one, even if they asked for a threepenny one. So they didn't make any profits on the ice cream. But I loved those days. You know, they were happy days. Well, school was, I suppose, okay. Some of the nuns were lovely. There was one in particular who wasn't. And a friend of mine and myself went to the matinee one day. My mum knew and she was going to collect me. I didn't realise that my friend's mum didn't know. That was fine. Her mother came in the middle of the movie and took her away, and my mum was going to pick me up, so I waited. But the next day when I went to school, this sister Imelda pulled me into one of the classrooms. She took out the leg of a chair out of her pocket, out of her habit. I don't remember much after that. I know she was pulled off me. I was black and blue, and two or three of my friends waited for me, and they walked me, took me home. I was black and blue all over. She nearly killed me. She wouldn't stop. It was like she had a meltdown. She just went bananas. And my mum went up, of course. My little mum went up to... That nun never came near me again, and quite honestly, I hated school after that. I didn't ever want to go back. So anything I know, or if I know, it's through reading and it's through living. It's not through any schooling I liked. Mum would always say that because I was born in 1946 after the Second World War, she always said that I brought peace to the world. Uh, she changed her mind in latter years. She kind of changed her mind, and very, very, very much so. I kind of hit London and went wild. Actually left home on, I always remember, it was the 13th of April 1963, and it was a Friday. And I went over, the idea was to go nursing. But didn't really work out like that. I tried to do psychiatric nursing in a hospital called St. Bernard's in Southall, and unfortunately something happened in between me starting there and 2 weeks later I walked out, and I kept going. I kept going, yeah, I just ran. I hated it. I would have just wanted to stay with my mum for the rest of my days. I didn't care. I just wanted to stay at home. I did. No, I cried for months and months. And my sister, Una, lived on a houseboat in Richmond. And she was married to a lovely man called Edwin. And so he'd come on his motorbike to the nursing home and pick me up for my days off. And that kept me going, because I'd spend the night with Una, and then I'd walk my nephew, who's 60 now, around Richmond Park or somewhere, and that was nice. That was nice. There were some parts of England and some parts of my life over there I loved. That was lovely having Mum up. Uh, I was getting more upset as time went on. I couldn't get down to see Mum as much as I wanted to, and the rest of my family lived abroad. So you know, there was only me really. And I tried, it just didn't work. You know, I even learned how to drive and drove down a few times, but that was nerve-wracking, and I don't have the neck for that at all.
Yes.
Yeah, the district nurse, I was talking to her one day and she said, do you want me to try and get your mum some sheltered housing down here? And I said, yeah, why not? You know, she might as well be here as there on her own. And yeah, she did, and she moved to Archway. Yeah, it was good to be able to see my mum every day. And well, always on a Sunday, she was down for dinner with us. And she loved the dog too, she did. And we often went for little drives around Alexander Palace, or I'd take her over to Southgate and we'd drive around there, yeah. It was nice to have my mum around. My mum had passed away at this time and I wanted to come home. And Bridget had a MS, and a galloping MS, which was the worst form you could get. And we'd come home if we could get a place. The priest came around and he said there was a Father Looney that was in Carrasavine, County Kerry, who was going to take us. Great. Muggins here, packed up every box I could get, and we bought so many tea boxes and, you know, packed and packed and packed, and they were all in poor Bridget's front room. You know, just go, because he had said it, and I believe, you know, why would you lie to me? That's true, the man didn't even know who I was. I eventually rang because I wasn't getting any joy with it. I said the man didn't even know who we were, and geez, the two of us were waiting to get home. And about 2 weeks later, in through the door came this form for fluid housing. So we tried that, and thank God, that's how we got home.
Yeah.
She only lasted 11 months, but you know, she came home with us. The only regret I had about that is I wanted to show her Gugambara, and we didn't. But, you know. Una's always been a role model as such to me. And yeah, she's 9 years older than me. She was my hero, and she really was a role model, a good role model, but I didn't I didn't follow up as good as I should have. Unfortunately, she moved to Canada in 1968, but before that she was really good, you know. She was the one to go to. If I walked out of a job, which I did many times, I went to Una and Edwin and I stayed with them. There was never, no, you can't. And I haven't forgotten that, and I can't. You know, it was something that was very, very special. And yeah, she was there when I needed her, and she still is to this day. If anything goes wrong, I've just got to get on the phone, and Una will do something, help, whatever. She's a wonderful sister to have. She's absolutely talented. I have never in my life met anyone so good at anything. It makes me sick. You know, it actually, anything she turns her hand to, she can do. She's been a counsellor for people with addictions, which helped with me. She's taken photographs that are unbelievable. And she's painted and she drew and she's a magic woman. And when I lost my grandson, she arrived, and it was just great to have her. Have her in my life. She rings most Sundays. She's at the other side of the phone if I need her. So she's someone else. She is. And she is pretty. She probably thinks I've forgotten. Quite often I'd make the dinner if Mum was working, and she made the dinner and let every one of the potatoes fall into the sink that was full of everything, tea leaves, and it was tea leaves at that time. There was no tea bags. It was tea leaves all over the place, and I'd never seen potatoes look so bad. And they were already cooked, so they were all, ew. And I was the only one that didn't eat the potatoes that day, but nobody understood why I wasn't eating them. Everybody ate them, but I was, no. And what's that on that? I remember one of my brothers saying, and Una making some excuse that it was thyme or parsley or something, but it wasn't. It was filthy tea leaves. It was good. And she used to dance around the kitchen with a brush, singing. Yeah, we're all good at that. My son, I was born in 1968. I was terribly in love with his father. Uh, didn't work out. I unfortunately had no support at the time because my sister was packed up and ready to go to Canada, and I got him adopted. I always bitterly regretted that, and years later a letter came in my door in Middleton actually, and it was from the government in Ireland, and it was finding people that were adopted, and so I rang up and it absolutely snowballed. And they found him within maybe a week. It was really. Mum was passed away unfortunately because it would have meant so much to my mum to meet him. You know, it snowballed, and Mike got in touch with me. He wasn't too sure about it at first, and you know, I think it's understandable. He hadn't got a very terrific, happy out childhood, so I have to take that into account with things because he really didn't want to meet me. But his wife at the time pushed him along and he met me. And after one or two trots over from London to here, we bonded like glue. And then he brought the grandchildren over. Sam, we went off to Garryvoe. I can always remember we met in the Midland Park, went off to Garryvoe to the beach. And Sam came straight down after me because I kind of walked off, and Sam ran after me and stuck his little hand in mine, and I felt like I was floating on air that day. Anyway, they came over quite often, and I got on great with the grandkids, loved them to bits. The eldest grandson, unfortunately, got addicted to ketamine. It's a tranquilizer I believe they give to horses. They sent him out to Thailand for rehab twice. It didn't work, and came back, and 2 weeks after his 21st birthday, he decided he'd had enough, so he took an overdose. And my other grandson, Sam, unfortunately has epilepsy, and he went on drugs. And Sam has had many fits because of the epilepsy, and the drugs don't work together. He's had many fits. Now, at the moment, he's gone into NA, and I'm keeping fingers, toes crossed and hoping to God he'll be all right. And that'll mean more to me than anything. And they're off to Jamaica now in a week or two to do a documental on Bob Marley, and I'm hoping to get t-shirts and a hat to put on my head. There isn't a day goes by that I don't think of them. Not a day. Love them all and miss Barney terribly. And it kind of destroyed everything. But, you know, we're getting there and we're up and we're moving again, thank God. And that's it. Can't think of anything else to say except I love them all. Every single one of them. Mick Concannon included.